The dimmed cabin, unveiling the safety reasons behind the pre-takeoff and landing ritual. Any frequent flyer is intimately familiar with the orchestrated sequence of events that precedes a flight's takeoff and landing. The gentle chime, the crew's final walkthrough, the fastening of seatbelts, and, as if on cue, the gradual dimming of the cabin lights. While many passengers might dismiss this as a mere atmospheric choice, perhaps to encourage rest or to make the outside world seem more dramatic, the reality is rooted in a profound and calculated commitment to safety. This practice, particularly noticeable during night flights, is a crucial procedure designed to maximize survival chances in the unlikely event of an emergency. The core principle at play is a biological phenomenon known as dark adaptation. The human eye is a remarkable but not instantaneous organ. When moving from a brightly lit environment to a dark one, the pupils dilate and the chemistry of the retina begins to change, shifting from using cone cells, responsible for color vision in bright light, to rod cells, responsible for peripheral and low light vision. This process is not immediate. It can take anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes for vision to fully adjust to the darkness. In a high-stakes scenario like an aircraft evacuation, where every second is precious, waiting for one's eyes to adjust to the darkness is a luxury no one can afford. This is precisely why the cabin lights are dimmed during critical phases of flight, takeoff and landing. These are statistically the most dynamic and potentially risky parts of a journey. By lowering the interior illumination to a level that closely matches the ambient light conditions outside, the flight crew ensures that their eyes are already pre-adapted to the darkness. As explained by flight attendant M. Mashchinsky and standard aviation safety protocols, if an emergency evacuation were to become necessary, the crew would be able to see clearly immediately. They could effectively guide passengers, identify exits, assess external conditions, such as fire, water, or debris, and operate emergency equipment without a debilitating period of temporary blindness. This pre-adaptation is not just for the pilots, it is vital for the entire cabin crew, who are the leaders and facilitators of any evacuation on the ground. The logic extends seamlessly to daytime operations. Passengers may have noticed that during daytime takeoffs and landings, the crew instructs everyone to open their window shades. This is not merely for the enjoyment of the view, it serves a dual safety purpose. Firstly, it allows sunlight to flood the cabin, naturally balancing the interior and exterior light levels and aiding the dark adaptation process. Secondly, and just as importantly, it enables the crew and passengers to have a clear, unobstructed view of the outside. They can quickly assess which side of the aircraft is safer for evacuation, spot potential external hazards, and provide crucial visual information to rescue personnel. An open shade allows rescuers outside to peer in and understand the situation within the cabin. The dimming of lights also serves to acclimatize the passenger's vision. In the event of a sudden power failure or the need for a rapid evacuation, passengers whose eyes are already accustomed to the lower light levels will be less disoriented. They are more likely to be able to see the illuminated aisle path lights and emergency exit signs, which remain brightly lit and are designed to be visible in smoke-filled conditions. This subtle preparation of the passenger cohort is a key, though often overlooked, layer of the safety protocol. However, as with many regulations in a global industry, the implementation of this practice is not entirely universal. The provided text highlights an interesting nuance. Not all aviation authorities mandate it with the same stringency. In 2017, the Dutch airline, KLM, publicly questioned the universal application of the rule, stating a lack of concrete scientific evidence to fully support it. This points to a broader reality in aviation safety. Regulations are a complex interplay of hard science, risk assessment, historical precedent, and operational philosophy. National aviation authorities, such as the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, in the United States, or the European Union Aviation Safety Agency, EASA, set the rules for carriers under their jurisdiction. While the underlying principle of dark adaptation is universally understood, the specific requirements, how dim the lights must be, for exactly how long before takeoff they must be dimmed, and under what meteorological conditions, can vary. Some airlines may interpret these rules more conservatively than others. For an airline like KLM, their statement reflects a continuous, evidence-based review of procedures, a process that is itself a cornerstone of modern aviation safety. They are not dismissing safety, but rather engaging in a dialogue about optimizing it based on the latest data and risk models. In conclusion, the simple act of dimming the cabin lights is a testament to the aviation industry's meticulous, multi-layered approach to safety. It is a procedure born from a deep understanding of human physiology and a commitment to preparing for even the most remote contingencies. It transforms the cabin from a passive passenger space into a preemptively configured safety environment. The next time the lights softly fade and the outside world becomes more prominent through the windows, it is a quiet reminder that every detail of the flight experience has been scrutinized. It is a silent, collective preparation, ensuring that should the unimaginable occur, the human body, in the form of the crew's vision and the passenger's situational awareness, is already one step ahead, primed for a swift and orderly response. This small ritual is a powerful symbol of an industry that operates on the principle that true safety lies not only in reacting to emergencies, but in preparing for them long before they ever have a chance to happen. Echoes in the cabin, untold stories and fascinating facts from the sky. Beyond the well-rehearsed safety protocols, the interior of an airliner is a unique microcosm, a pressurized tube hurtling through the sky that has witnessed countless human dramas, technological marvels, and peculiar secrets. The dimmed lights are just one of many silent procedures. The rest of the flight is filled with whispers of history and science that most passengers never hear. Consider the humble galley kitchen, for instance. The ovens used to heat meals are not too dissimilar from those in a home, but they operate under severe constraints. They must be light, energy efficient, and, most importantly, they cannot have open flames or heating elements that glow red hot, as this is a fire risk. Instead, they often use convection heating, and the meals are meticulously timed to be heated from a frozen or chilled state to the perfect temperature during the flight's service cycle. The famous chicken or pasta choice is a logistical ballet of pre-ordering, loading, and heating that involves complex calculations to ensure the right meals are in the right galley. Then there are the stories etched into the very fabric of the cabins. On long-haul flights, it's not uncommon for flight attendants to perform small, unscripted acts of kindness that never make the news. They have quietly rearranged passengers to allow a grieving widow more space and privacy, used their own personal supplies to create a makeshift birthday celebration for a child traveling alone, or simply sat and held the hand of an anxious flyer during turbulence. These are the human moments that define the profession far beyond the safety demonstrations. The cargo hold, lying beneath the passenger's feet, has its own anthology of tales. While most of it is filled with luggage and standard freight, it has also been a temporary transport for some extraordinary cargo. From entire racing horses and their attendants in specially configured stalls, to priceless works of art traveling in climate-controlled containers, to the solemn and dignified transport of human organs for transplant. There's a famous, albeit somber story from the crash of Pan Am Flight 103 over Lockerbie, Scotland. Amid the devastation, investigators found a single piece of cargo, a cassette player from a Toshiba Bombbeat model. Miraculously, the cassette inside, a mixtape of music, was still playable. It became a poignant, heartbreaking clue and a reminder of the personal lives intertwined with every flight. Even the design of the aircraft itself holds intentional secrets. The infamous brace position is not just to protect against impact.
It is also designed to minimize the whiplash effect and to prevent passengers from flailing their limbs, which could injure themselves or others. The oxygen masks that drop from the ceiling provide roughly 12 to 15 minutes of oxygen. This is not enough time to descend from cruising altitude to a breathable atmosphere. So why is it sufficient? Because it is precisely calculated to give the pilots enough time to perform a rapid, controlled emergency descent to an altitude where passengers can breathe without assistance, typically around 10,000 feet. Another little-known fact involves the water on board. While it's perfectly safe for hand washing, flight attendants will often advise passengers against drinking plain water from the airplane taps that isn't from a sealed bottle. The water tanks on aircraft, which are filled from various sources around the world, can sometimes host bacteria that are harmless on the ground, but may cause discomfort due to the different pressurization and storage conditions. This is why coffee and tea on planes sometimes taste off. The water is heated, not boiled to a full 100 degrees Celsius, which may not kill all microorganisms. Perhaps one of the most remarkable stories of in-flight ingenuity comes from a Qantas flight in 2008. Qantas Flight 72, an Airbus A330, experienced a sudden and severe malfunction in its flight control computers, causing the aircraft to pitch down violently not once, but twice. The G-forces were so extreme that people were thrown against the ceiling and the cabin was filled with the sound of screaming and crashing galley equipment. Despite being injured themselves, the pilots managed to manually override the faulty system and execute a successful emergency landing. The calm, professional, and incredibly skilled response of the crew in the face of a completely unexpected and catastrophic system failure is studied in aviation safety courses to this day. It stands as a powerful testament to the fact that while technology can fail, human training and composure remain the ultimate safeguard. These stories and facts, from the logistical wonder of an in-flight meal to the profound heroism in a crisis, paint a much richer picture of what it means to fly. The dimmed cabin lights are a prelude to a journey that is a complex tapestry of human endeavor, meticulous engineering, and quiet resilience. Every rivet, every procedure, and every smile from the crew is part of a vast, interconnected system designed not just to transport us from A to B, but to do so with an unwavering, albeit often invisible commitment to our safety and humanity.